convenience.
No.
You know, we just continue.
Okay.
All right, so last week we left on page 62.
Yeah, do we start? I haven't
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, last week we left off on page 62, correct? Is it the top of page 62? You're past it already, bro. It's
Yep.
It's there.
Yep.
Top of the page. Okay.
Yeah.
So, continuing with the Gosho lecture on the proof of the Lotus Sutra by Daisaku Ikeda from the Teachings for Victory. We're starting on the top of page 62. Continuing from last week, this is we will finish chapter 4 tonight. All right? Everybody's ready? All right. Making our limited life in this world one of victory. All right, what does he mean by that? The thing that's constantly emphasized in Buddhism is that, our life is a precious gift,
Yes.
okay, that we cherish and try and make the most of each moment. Okay, so this is about not taking your life for granted, all right? Our life in this world is limited. In other words, we only have so much time to do what we feel we want to do with our life, right? So if we perceive ourselves as having objectives like attaining Buddhahood, we can't put them off thinking that we have a future time when we'll get there, or that it's more convenient, or that we'll be more capable, or that we'll be different somehow, or that we will have finally met the right person, or we will have finally gotten the right job, or somehow the world will have straightened itself out for us. Okay? That's not the way it works. Okay? Each day has a new surprise. Each day is an opportunity for victory or defeat. That's what he's basically talking about here. All right? Buddhism is win or lose. That's the Buddhism we practice. Win or lose Buddhism. All right? Our life in this world is limited. Death comes to us all. And we don't know when. All right? That's not guaranteed to be some sort of a longevity that's associated with number of years. It's quality of life and attainment of Buddhahood in your present form. As Nichiren Daishonin says, no one can escape death. That is why he urges Tokimitsu to devote his life unhesitatingly to the Lotus Sutra. That's what he's saying. He's saying basically you can't put this off until a more convenient time because you're assuming you'll have a time. All right? There is nothing to fear when you do the right thing. There is nothing to fear when one dedicates one's limited life in this world to widely propagating the mystic law and establishing the correct teaching for the peace of the land. What's that said then? What did he just say then? There's nothing to fear when you live your life for Kosen Rufu. Right? Okay, so there is nothing to fear when one is determined to raise high the banner of supreme victory and glory and achieve happiness that will endure throughout the three existences. That's Kosen Rufu. In another letter to the lay nun Toki, Nichiren writes, "Take care of yourself and do not burden your mind with grief. Because we are human, a serious or protracted illness may drain our strength or spirit, causing us to lament our situation or succumb to feelings of powerlessness or doubt without our ever realizing it." I just went through that, a sense of panic over the fact that I was so sick and it wasn't getting better. I was getting worse, But no matter what ails us, we should live with the resolve not to give in to grief or sorrow. In other words, don't lament the experience itself. Understand that the experience is part of daily life. All right? Especially in terms of faith, we should rouse a powerful spirit to battle the devil of illness and not be defeated by our sickness. So the point is that, again, he's saying, keep your spirit high, keep your attitude one of victory, rather than one of, I'm being afflicted with something, why am I not being protected, why am I having to deal with this, this is more bullshit, why aren't I, free of all these problems. The key to this is chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, of which Nichiren declares only the ship of Myoho Renge-kyo enables one to cross the sea of sufferings of birth and death. The beneficial power of chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo even once is boundless and immeasurable. But what does he mean? Why does he say the key to this is chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo? Because that's the way we elevate our life condition. Every time we're faced with these kinds of devilish functions that are trying to drag us down, it's not the level of intellect and wisdom that allows you to change that. Okay, I don't care how smart you are, when you're being affected in that way, your life condition is going to be affected negatively. The only way you can bring your life condition up correctly is not through some sort of a psych job on yourself, but to actually get in front of the Gohanzan and engage your Buddha nature and do your thing as the Buddha in this world. Okay? So he's saying, he's saying the beneficial power of chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo even once is boundless and immeasurable. Now, for those of us that can chant anytime Nam Myoho Renge, how many times in a day do you say Nam Myoho Renge Kyo? We never think about the power of a single daimoku. Okay? It almost becomes a relative issue to us because we're used to chanting, repetitively, continuously, day after day after day. So when you talk about a single daimoku, it's kind of like, well, that's kind of weak. What do you get out of one daimoku? Nichiren says you get everything out of one daimoku. One daimoku separates you from being a Buddha in theory to hearing the name and the words of the truth. Because so when he's saying the beneficial power of chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo even once is boundless and immeasurable, that's a true, accurate statement. The ability to change your karma from being a Buddha in theory to hearing the name and the words of the truth and being forever then on a continuous path toward Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi is boundless and immeasurable good fortune. Single daimoku. Okay? So again, you don't have to have everybody start practicing so much as you really need them to get to say Nam, get to connect with the Gohanzan, connect with the law. That's their connection. It was their volition to actually say it, even though you convinced them to. It was their karma to be able to say it. Okay? All that matters is that we keep moving forward in our hearts each day. Let me make this clear again. This is how you get through decade after decade after decade. Okay? All that matters is that we keep moving forward in our hearts each day, even if only a fraction of an inch. That's advance. Okay? That's not retreat. That's victory. Taking a step forward by continuing to strengthen our faith day by day and month after month. Even if things don't always progress the way we'd hoped, we should remember that many fellow members are also chanting for us to get well. There is no greater source of strength and support than this. And he's not just talking about the people that know you personally. There are many people that chant for everybody that's chanting, everybody that's embracing faith. There are many people that chant for Kosen Rufu, that chant for the people that are fighting for Kosen Rufu. Okay? That includes you. You get to be part of the recipient. Again, don't forget, all the merit of all the Buddhas is exactly the same, right? Our merit all goes into the Buddha pile. We all share in the Buddha pile. You understand? All Buddhas share in that pile. There's nothing that is separate or owned or isolated from us. We have access to everything. When we steadfastly battle the devil of illness through faith, our illness in its entirety becomes an opportunity to transform our karma through the beneficial power of the mystic law to change poison into medicine. My father-in-law, each one of us that knows someone that because of illness engages and embraces faith and are able to achieve, again, that's what he's talking about. He's saying, our illness in its entirety. Okay? So, like my father-in-law, his illness of his cancer in its entirety became an opportunity for him to transform his karma through the beneficial power of the mystic law and to change the poison of having been an Imbutsu believer and practitioner his whole life until the very end of his life into medicine. Okay, do you understand? All right, so he's saying, as Nichiren confidently declares, there is nothing to lament when we consider that we will surely become Buddhas. So there's nothing that we experience in our daily life now that's a travail or a difficulty or an obstacle by devilish function, okay, that can compare with the reality in the sense of assuredness of Nichiren qualified. You will attain Buddhahood in your present form in this lifetime.
Yes.
I ain't BSing you on that one. All you got to do is get to the last moment of your life, and you know I never was ever lying about that. Every single one of you that has embraced my teaching of the sowing will attain Buddhahood in your present form, so long as you become of the same mind as me, which means you're more worried, you care about widespread propagation, you care about Kosen Rufu more than just personal benefit. Personal benefit is an expedient means to get you to the point of that wisdom. He says he is describing a state of absolute assurance, of absolute peace of mind. And he's basically saying you should also have that same sense of assurance. You should also have that same peace of mind about your life as my disciple. You will not get the short end of the stick. No matter what you're experiencing now, you will attain Buddhahood in your present form and all the benefit that goes with that. That's eternal. You will enter the realm of birth and death in the realm of Buddhahood. The noble value of life as a human being. Because what this Nichiren says, he says, it's very rare to be born as a human being. You can be born in lots of things. Life forms are life forms are life forms. According to Buddhism, universe is filled with life forms. I'll remember all those things that I called out when I was reading that one Gosho. Chakras and Gugra, Ruga, and all kinds of names of all this weird shit that you've never heard of before. These are all life forms that are referred to in the Lotus Sutra. So he's saying, when we practice Nichiren Buddhism so that we can live out our lives, we practice Nichiren Buddhism so that we can live out our lives to the fullest, which means to attain Buddhahood in our present form. The benefit of living even one day longer with faith in the mystic law is unfathomable. Why does he say that? Because that's Nichiren's teaching. Nichiren's teaching is a single day of life is worth more than all the treasures of a major world system, right? That's why we don't give in to illness and say, okay, good, cut it off. I'm done. We push it to the last. That's what's this whole thing of faith to the last moment of your life. You don't determine that. Okay? Your karma determines that. The benefit of living even one day longer with faith in the mystic law, living with correct faith, is unfathomable. If we live even one day longer, we can spread the teachings of Buddhism that much more. That should be our attitude in life. This endows our lives with immeasurable good fortune and benefit. It's what assures that we'll always meet the Gohonzon in every lifetime. It's this kind of action, right? It's all karma. There's no gift here. There's nobody giving anything away here. There's no Buddha bestowing something on us here. This is each one of us as our original state, being the Buddha, assuming that original identity. He says, through their examples, this endows our lives with immeasurable good fortune and benefit. Through their examples, those who battle the devil of illness based on faith teach others of the noble value of life as a human being. Okay? As practitioners of Nichiren Buddhism, no matter what our circumstances, we are able to bring forth wisdom and compassion and make our own lives and those of others shine brightly. This is the way we of the SGI live our lives. I'll just go back and sort of say, this is the way we of the SGI are encouraged by Daisaku Ikeda to live our lives. Okay? It's up to you to live your life that way. Being a member of the Soka Gakkai doesn't suddenly endow you with that. That's based on your ichinen. That is why using our wisdom to stay fit and healthy is also important. Faith means having both the wisdom to prevent illness and to deal with illness appropriately should it arise, so that we can continue creating value. In other words, we would protect our lives for the sake of the law, because we are living Buddhas, right?
Right.
For instance, when we have overcome a serious illness or are still in the early stages of recovery, we should take care not to overexert ourselves. We don't have to be supernatural, all-powerful. I got to eat and I can just chant one Daimoku and now I'm fine. Okay? We should listen to our bodies. We should listen to our doctors. We should take our medicine. We should have wisdom. You know, President Ikeda hasn't gone from being a sickly, not going to live to be 30 dude when he started practicing at 19 to being 90, okay, because he didn't follow the doctor's orders and he just created all that good fortune from chanting. We already know, what did his mentor teach him? Health is something that's you have to be very protective of, and life is not guaranteed. Longevity is not guaranteed. So if you have got some mission you feel, get after it now. Don't put it off until later. He says this is also vital wisdom for regaining our health. Okay, not overdoing it, doing everything within Sutra, right? The middle way. When we fall ill, we shouldn't be impatient or forget to be careful. When we need to rest, we should listen to our bodies and not overdo things. Now, you guys have all said to me, you look so tired. I said, do not begrudge your life. Okay? There's a difference between that attitude and what he's talking about right now. Okay? Because when I say do not begrudge your life, I'm talking about you already have the wisdom to know this is a devilish function of fatigue or a devilish function. My life isn't at stake. Something's trying to stop me from preaching the law. Okay? That's a whole different thing. All right? That's a whole different thing than if you're ill and you're trying to overcome an illness. Okay? Wednesday devilish functions to keep me from opening my mouth in front of these cameras is something I encourage on a weekly basis. So when I say, do not begrudge your life, I'm talking about the correct attitude, because otherwise those obstacles will, I'll cancel. I'm not up to it. I'm busy. Other things are a priority. Okay, do you understand?
Yes.
Once we have fully regained our health, we can devote ourselves to SCI activities again as energetically as we like. Learning that his disciple Sairenbo wished to seclude himself in the mountains because of ill health, Nichiren responds by telling him to concentrate on treating his illness and to then return to making tireless effort to propagate the mystic law when he has recovered. Okay? So do you understand the point of reference there? Because in the olden days, back in Nichiren's time, they were still, traditional Buddhism would call for people in their elder years to really focus on themselves and to go into peaceful practices and to withdraw. Okay? And so what he's saying to Sairenbo, and we all know who Sairenbo was, right?
Yes.
One of the most learned disciples, the one that he sent the most technical, deepest, heavy goshos to. He's basically saying, instead of going to the mountains to foresee that you're dying, to go up there to die and to relax and live out your days in peaceful seclusion, get well and go keep doing shakabuku until you die. That's what he's saying.
Yes.
He's saying the way isn't to go decide, now is my time to leave. It's to say, I'm not going to stop giving until my body is not able to give anymore because I have died. Okay, that's faith to the last moment of your life. That's what he's encouraging Sairenbo to do. Understand Kosen Rufu is something we pursue with whatever effort we have the capacity to make until the end of our life. Period, period, period. Nothing comes before that. And that's why he would say to a sick disciple like Sairenbo, get your ass well and then get back to work. It doesn't sound compassionate, but it's the supreme compassion of ultimate wisdom. It's a Buddha nature speaking. All right? He says, we cannot defeat the devil of illness with a weak resolve. Okay? President Toda didn't stretch it out and overcome what he had been battling so that he could die in peace. By not fighting it continuously. He could never give in. If we forget the fighting spirit to struggle for Kosen Rufu in the same spirit as our mentor in faith, devils will take advantage. So he's saying even Nichiren Daishonin struggled with this. Don't forget, Nichiren had diarrhea for the last 2 years of his life, dysentery.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not a comfortable malady to have. Okay, and there were medicinal herbs that Shicho Kingo was able to give him to help calm it down. But again, illness is a part of life. The challenge of overcoming illness is a part of life. The challenge of not giving up till the last moment of your life is a part of life. Our mentor, our eternal mentor, lived a life that exemplified that and left us with the legacy of his living example. Again, why does the original teacher manifest? Only to show the path, only to show the way. Okay, not because of any karmic retribution that needs to be, no matter what he calls it, for the sake of us understanding and making us equal to him. Okay? He says, so using faith to battle illness has become firmly established in the SGI through the real life struggles and actual proof of countless members, because countless members have chanted Nam Myoho Mori Geikyo, overcome cancer, overcome this, overcome that, overcome this, all kinds of miracle stories about changing poison into medicine. But because that's really a reflection of faith, it can't be consistently laid out there, all SGI members, because it's really all SGI members that are of the same mind as Nichiren, that practice as President Ikeda has prescribed. As you understand? So in other words, it's not about overcoming the illness and everything is well again. Nichiren didn't do that with his dysentery in the last 2 years of his life again, right? The point is that you don't give up to the last moment of your life. That's the key. And because people don't give up to the last moment of their life, their moment of life is extended in many instances. Okay? What could have been death didn't end up being death because they changed their karma. Okay? By making the cause in relationship to the Gohonzon. There are innumerable heroic individuals who have demonstrated the beneficial power of faith to change poison into medicine, inspiring those around them with their positive spirit and refusal to be defeated by the devil of illness. Experiences of battling illness and enacting a joyful drama of victory, supported by the sincere prayer of family and fellow members, are themselves a great testimony to the power of Nichiren Buddhism. Continuing on page 63. From the Gosho. A towering state of absolute confidence. Okay, that's what he's encouraging us to have. And you demons, by making this man suffer, are you trying to swallow a sword point first? I love the way he says this stuff. Or embrace a raging fire? Or become the arch enemy of the Buddhas of the 10 directions in the 3 existences? How terrible this will be for you. Should you not cure this man's illness immediately, act rather as his protectors, and escape from the grievous sufferings that are the lot of demons? If you fail to do so, will you not have your heads broken into 7 pieces in this life and fall into the great hell of incessant suffering in your next life? Consider it deeply. Consider it. If you ignore my words, you will certainly regret it later. And he's remonstrating with what he's calling the demons that are affecting Tokimitsu with this illness. Don't forget, Tokimitsu is only 24 years old. Tokimitsu is so near death that Nichiren is inspired to write to him, even though Nichiren is suffering from great illness to the point that he's tried to already have somebody else write in his stead. And out of concern, he's taken up the pen to say, no, you don't give up. You're going to overcome this. You know, you may see me and I'm sick and you're thinking, if you're sick and you're chanting and you're the teacher, how can I overcome this? No. Don't go there. That's not what this is about. So he says, President Ikeda continues with the lecture on page 63 at the bottom. And you demons, cries Nichiren Daishonin in this passage, which constitutes an angry rebuke of the devilish functions bent on taking away the life of his young disciple. As I mentioned earlier, it also constitutes his refutation as a votary of the Lotus Sutra, seeking to denounce error and clarify the truth. He warns that inflicting suffering on Tokimitsu A disciple of the votary of the Lotus Sutra is to alienate all the Buddhas throughout the 10 directions and the 3 existences. So what he's making is a statement of fact as much as he's saying something to inspire Tokimitsu. Because again, Nanja Tokimitsu's thinking, I'm being, this is 13th century Japan. There's no modern science. There's no x-rays. There's no medicine as we know modern medicine. Okay? So, he's encouraging him. He's encouraging him to have strong faith and confidence, which is what President Ikeda is encouraging us as we're experiencing these similar challenges in our own daily life. Here, demons refers to the negative functions, the devilish functions, not to dudes that are demons. Okay? Here, demons refers to the negative functions that seek to weaken people and rob them of their lives. Okay? That's what devilish functions do, right? That's what the devil of the sixth heaven's purpose is, correct? To keep us from realizing the innate power of our life as the Buddha. You're not the Buddha, you're a sick person. You don't have strength. You can't come back and challenge. No, Nichiren is saying you must challenge, you must fight, even if you have no strength. Fight with no strength. But don't not fight. You can never not fight. That's called giving up. That's called giving in. That's called the difference between victory and defeat. Victory is in never, ever giving up. All right? Viewed from the perspective of traditional Buddhist cosmology, there are evil demons that trouble Buddhist practitioners and benevolent demons that protect Buddhism. In this passage, Nichiren demands the evil demons to immediately cure Tokimitsu's illness and become benevolent demons that will protect him instead of harming him. And you can see those characters are all in the Gohonzon, right? The Kishimojin, the demon, dragon, the Kishimojin, the dragon mother, and her 10 demon daughters, and all those other characters. Okay. Should you not escape from the grievous sufferings that are the lot of should you not escape from the grievous sufferings that are the lot of demons, he asks? Demons represent beings that have fallen into the world of hungry spirits, a state that is filled with great suffering. Only the Lotus Sutra can free them from this realm of suffering. He urges the evil demons tormenting Tokimitsu to escape from their suffering by protecting this practitioner of the Lotus Sutra. Otherwise, he says, they will have their heads broken into 7 pieces in this life and fall into the great hell of incessant suffering in their next. And you know that whole thing about splitting your head in 7 pieces is on the Gohonzon. In this way, Nichiren sternly chastises the demons. He no doubt wished to show Tokimitsu his fearless conviction as a votary of the Lotus Sutra. Because when you believe you're the Buddha, you understand there is nothing above you. So as you speak to unknown influences around you, they are not greater than you. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. I can talk to them in the same tone, in the same manner that Nichiren addresses them. There's no separation between me and Nichiren. I'm a voter of the Lotus Sutra as well. I can talk to demons just like this in half. Okay? Now, what would make me think that I'm crazy? Dude, are you nuts? I mean, why would you do that? Because I read the Gosho so much, so many places. I saw Nichiren have the same attitude, this same sense of, I'm the Buddha, what you going to do about it? I'll kick your ass. Okay? And that's basically where he's coming from here. That's what he's trying to instill in us, this understanding. Nothing is greater than our life, and nothing is greater than the power of our life. Okay? But the realization of that is Buddhahood. The realization of that is the Buddha nature. Understand that. What else makes it so? Only the understanding of the Buddhism is sowing, or else you're just fabricating shit. Right? You're making up a story to go along with what you want to have confidence about. This is him saying, this is the teaching you can have fearless confidence in. It's not something that you have to worry about, do you know what you're talking about? Nichiren is saying, trust me. All right? In light of this, let each of us too further strengthen our prayers as a votary of the Lotus Sutra Okay? Because that's how he's talking to Tokimitsu. You talk to demons in the manner that he just addressed that passage referring to the demons. He's speaking to them as a votary. You have the ability to speak to them as a votary. All right? Ready to courageously challenge the devil of illness head on, should it appear. Let us forge ahead with a firm resolve to turn even negative functions into positive influences. Turn poison into medicine that will support and assist us in our lives of great mission by being the actual examples, the living proof of this power of this Buddhism. It is there important to chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo that is like the roar of a lion, Nichiren writes. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is like the roar of a lion. What sickness can therefore be an obstacle? It is written that those who embrace the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra will be protected by the mother of the... I just tried remembering her name. By Kishimojin. And by the 10 demon daughters. Okay? And that's reply to Kyo-o, right? Shijo Kingo's daughter's sick. He's going like, no sweat. Kyo-o will kick ass. Watch. When faced with sickness, we need to summon the heart of a Lion King from within. We must have faith in the teaching that we are in the midst of a challenge that can be overcome. Do you understand? So he said, when faced with illness, when faced with sickness, we need to summon the heart of a Lion King from within and fearlessly take on the devil of illness. This kind of courageous faith is vital. So what did he just say there? Mugi washing, baby.
No doubt. Yeah.
Mugi washing, baby. Yes, it's exactly correct. You know, doubt-free faith is what he's saying. If you don't have doubt-free faith, you're going to have a hard time getting through this. What I'm talking about here, Nichiren says, is Tokimitsu. Doubt-free faith. Tokimitsu. Overcome those devils. Okay? You sound like an old SGI leader. Talk like this all the time. Now, this was the conky of President Toda and President Ikeda. There's a reason why they always talk like that. Is it because they're Japanese? No, it's because their life condition is projecting. Their life condition is projecting. It's the power of their conviction. It's the power of their understanding. It's the power of what they're wanting you to have for free if you'll listen to them. All right? He's saying, Nichiren also challenged his own illness with the heart of a Lion King. At the time of writing the proof of the Lotus Sutra, he was suffering himself from prolonged ill health. In a letter written the previous year, he says, my body is worn out and my spirit suffers from the daily debates, monthly persecutions, and 2 exiles. That is why for the last 7 or 8 years, illnesses of aging have assailed me yearly, though none have led to a crisis. But no matter what his circumstances, Nichiren continued to offer encouragement to his followers and carry on his tireless struggle to propagate the correct teaching. We see a clear example of this in this letter, which Nichiren wrote despite his own debilitating illness for the sake of a youth to whom he wished to entrust the future. Do you understand? Do you understand the significance of that? Okay? So once again, he's basically saying that Nichiren, despite his own debilitating illness for the sake of a youth to whom he wished to encourage or entrust, if you're the Buddha, Nichiren's showing you how to live your life in those old age. Every day it hurts. There's no days when it's not. The older you get, the more it's that way. So if you're going to be the Buddha and encourage people the last moment of your life, you're going to be encourage people that are younger than you many, many times. Okay? You can't project to them the frailty of your age and illness. You've got to be the Buddha to the last moment of your life. You understand? Mm-hmm. You can't show them, God, what I taught you was nice. It's good for when you're young, but it doesn't work worth a shit when you get old. No. Okay? You understand?
Yes.
So no matter what those challenges, you must overcome them to be the living example, to be the Buddha to the last moment of your life. Okay? Why do we know that? And how do we know that? Because the living example of the original teacher. Okay? His life teaches us that. All right? In another letter toward the end of his life, in another letter toward the end of his life, expressing his appreciation for a disciple's visit and sincere offerings that had benefited his health, Nichiren writes exuberantly that he felt as though he were fit enough to catch a tiger or even ride a lion. Okay, I think that's when Shijo Kingo had given him some stuff for his dysentery. To encourage his followers, Nichiren gave vivid accounts of how he successfully repulsed the attacks of the 3 obstacles and 4 devils. So what was the function of the 3 obstacles and the 4 devils in Nichiren's life? The same that it is for all of us. Exactly. Okay? To set the stage, to show what it is to be the Buddha in your present form. To teach others through your actions rather than just words.
Yes.
All right? So he says, to encourage his followers, Nichiren gave vivid accounts of how he successfully repulsed the attacks of the 3 obstacles and 4 devils. In doing so, he left behind an inspiring example of a life undefeated by the innate, in other words, they're always there, sufferings of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Right?
Yeah.
Which was that's the 4 sufferings that the Buddha set out to figure out how to overcome those 4 sufferings from the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
Never actually occurred, in the Buddhism of the harvest. But through the living example of the original teacher in the Buddhism of the sowing, it is revealed. There is a way to overcome these innate sufferings of birth, aging, sickness, and death. It's to live them in the original state. It's to live them in your true identity. It's to be the Buddha, exactly as you are, without waiting for some perfect time when everything's great and nothing bad ever happens. And, good luck. You'll be waiting a long time. Life itself is a joy, regardless of whether you're well or ill. Mr. Makaguchi asserted the main requirement for happiness is good health. And to enjoy good health, we must put Soka Gakkai activities first. Good health means having a challenging spirit. There was no better way to stay fit and healthy. Mr. Makaguchi taught that by actively exerting ourselves in activities for this, there was no better way to stay fit and healthy, Mr. Makaguchi taught, than by actively exerting ourselves in activities for the sake of Kosen Rufu. At the same time, Mr. Makaguchi always warmly embraced those who were struggling with illness. In 1942, during World War II, he traveled all the way to the home of a family living in the village of Shimotsuma in Ibaraki prefecture to offer encouragement to their sick 7-year-old child. This was the year before he was imprisoned for his beliefs by the Japanese militarist authorities. My mentor, second Soka Gakkai President Josei Toda, gave the following encouragement. As a result of embracing the Gohonzon, even those who are worried or anxious about illness or other problems will be able to gain complete peace of mind. As they come to savor a deep inner confidence and assurance, life itself will be a source of joy. Okay? But what does he qualify that promise around? As a result of embracing the Gohonzon. As a result of embracing the Gohonzon with the mind of faith. All right? As a result of embracing the Gohonzon, chanting Daimoku. This isn't about understanding Goshos or lectures. This is about the practice of somebody that is a votary of the Lotus Sutra. Understand that. Okay? You can read this book and it's not going to make you a votary of the Lotus Sutra. Doing what's in this book is what makes you a votary of the Lotus Sutra. So he says, as a result of embracing the Gohonzon, as a result, cause and effect, as a result of embracing the Gohonzon, even those who are worried or anxious, okay? So he doesn't say you have to be like, not kind of affected by what you're dealing with, because of course you will be.
Yeah.
But if you get in front of the Gohonzon and start beating back those devilish functions that are making you feel that life condition, what will begin to rise naturally within you is the original state of the 10th world, which exists in all other 9, no matter which other 9 you're in. Right? So he's saying, as a result of embracing the Gohonzon, even those who are worried or anxious about illness or other problems, like your husband is the one that's ill, or your mother is the one that's ill, okay? Mm-hmm. Or other problems, will be able to gain complete peace of mind. As they come to savor a deep inner confidence and assurance, life itself will be a source of joy, because the Gohonzon will begin to communicate with you. Chill, it's okay. It's okay. You'll feel better. And you will feel better. All right? From chanting that Daimoku. Nevertheless, though, because we are living beings of the 9 worlds, we will still encounter problems at times. We may also find that the nature of our problems can change. For instance, whereas before we were preoccupied with our own concerns, we are able to turn our attention to the problems and sufferings of others, which means we're still experiencing that pain, because that's how we experience that, right? Mm-hmm. We have that level of compassion, right? Don't you think that finding life itself an absolute joy is what it means to be a Buddha? I constantly go back to your grandmother. I mean, she lived all of this. We saw what the result of that was. She lived to be 95 and attained Buddhahood in her present form. He also said, outwardly at times, we might look like a bodhisattva poverty or bodhisattva sickness, but that is merely a role we're playing in the drama of life, because as bodhisattvas, we have volunteered for whatever we manifest, right? We are, in fact, bona fide bodhisattvas of the earth, no matter what it appears like or what anybody else's opinion is. Okay? Period. Since life is a grand drama, we should thoroughly enjoy playing the role we have undertaken. Okay? The role that we experience is the role we have volunteered for. We have decided to undertake that challenge, to be that living proof, that living example, to convey that part of the teaching as a human. Do you understand? Because it can't just be conveyed in written form. It's got to be conveyed through the power of the faith and practice of the practitioners. The sharp sword that sets us free from a life shackled in such suffering as illness or financial hardship is the mystic law. Freeing all people throughout the land from such shackles is the mission and spirit of the Soka Gakkai. What is true health? It is not simply the absence of illness. It comes down to whether we vibrantly continue our endeavors to create value based on faith. I'll add to his sentence, to the last moment of our life. Those who transform the karma of illness into mission and constantly strive for self-renewal have already triumphed over the devil of illness. Why? How can he say that? Because they've already, through that action, assured the fact that they will attain Buddhahood in their present form. They're fighting to the last moment of their life. Whether that illness takes their life or not, that doesn't mean that they were defeated by the illness. Do you understand? It's not about whether or not you died of a malady. It's whether you fought the malady fearlessly, courageously, and as an example to others so that they can follow you and do what you're doing only because you were taught that same principle and ichinen and spirit. Do you understand? What I'm saying and what President Ikeda is teaching, he didn't make up, I'm not making up. We're both speaking from practical experience of being taught by people that have preceded us. We precede others, okay? You will precede others. They will then precede others. This is the process for Kosen Rufu, okay? So this has to be handed down as human activity, as practice, as faith, all right? Those who transform the karma of illness into mission, in other words, not just being sick, using that sickness to prove the power of the Gohonzon. Okay? Even if it doesn't mean defeating the illness, the life condition we carry to the last moment of life, that's what we're really all about. It's not about circumstances. Circumstances are constantly switched on and off. It's that continuous faith. It's that mugiwashi, demonstrating that. Those who transform the karma of illness into mission and constantly, that means endlessly, ceaselessly, strive for self-renewal. What is self-renewal? Honin myo, honin myo, honin myo, honin myo. Each moment is the last moment and the beginning moment. You don't know about the next moment. Each moment is precious. Each moment is the focus of your life. Do you understand? Constantly strive for self-renewal have already triumphed over the devil of illness because they are Buddhas exactly as they are. True health in both body and mind is found in the midst of struggle. It's not found anywhere else. This is the teaching of Nichiren Buddhism. So if you don't want it to be that way, then you don't understand. It is that way for a reason. That's the only way we save all the other suffering people. That's the only way we don't become an island in and of ourselves and we get to experience happiness and people outside of the island don't. This is what makes everybody equal. Okay? In another letter to the ailing lay priest Ota, Nichiren Daishonin writes, on the one hand, knowing that you are in agony. I love this. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is a great quote. On the one hand, knowing that you are in agony grieves me, but on the other hand, I am delighted because you are transforming your karma. And you are following my teaching in the midst of this struggle and this challenge. And I know ultimately you're the Buddha. You're going to be the Buddha as a result. You may not understand that now, but even though I really hate to see you suffer, inwardly, I'm delighted. I think that that's so cool because that's exactly, that's it. On the one hand, knowing that you are in agony grieves me, but on the other, I am delighted. On curing karmic diseases from that Gosho. He says this because, viewed from the perspective of Buddhism, viewed from the perspective of the Buddhism of the sowing, viewed from the perspective of the Buddha, illness serves as a means for us to deepen our faith, while also indicating that we are on the path of attaining Buddhahood. Wow. It's our friend. Like I told you, the devil of the sixth heaven is our friend. He's a personal trainer. Yeah, it's a personal trainer. It's only through his training that we gain the strength to be who we are. In this respect, illness can be viewed as fortuitous. Exactly what I just said. Do you understand? It only robs you if you let it rob you. If you utilize it correctly, it's like every other obstacle. It's your good friend. You know, only by virtue of the sword being forged in and out of the fire and the cold water, in and out of the fire and the cold water, he says, does the sword become capable of not breaking in battle. Okay? That's where we attain our Buddhahood. We attain our Buddhahood through the process of these struggles. It's not the absence of struggle that we should be seeking. It's the continuous victory we seek. Do you understand? The fact that struggling against illness can enrich and deepen a person's life is something that many leading thinkers recognize. Okay? It's true. The Swiss philosopher Karl Hilty, for instance, writes, every illness leaves its mark like the floodwaters of rivers. One who correctly apprehends, correctly understands, and endures illness becomes deeper, stronger, and bigger. He gains insights and convictions that would previously never have occurred to him because he begins to appreciate his life. When your life is threatened, you see it in a different way from that point on. In our case, we base our lives on the mystic law. When we do so, there is no suffering that we cannot transform into happiness. Those who are battling illness are climbing the lofty mountain of Buddhahood. When they reach the summit, they will be able to enjoy a vast and magnificent view. All their present hardships and suffering thus become a precious treasure for the purpose of constructing eternal happiness. Everybody's with me? In this letter, Nichiren teaches the young Tokimitsu of this great beneficial power of Buddhism, a person who is never defeated, never discouraged, and who never gives up, no matter what happens, is a victory in life and a true champion of health and longevity, regardless of how long they live, regardless of what they experienced while they lived. My wife and I will continue to pray wholeheartedly for all our fellow members to enjoy long, healthy, fulfilling lives, living lives overflowing with the brilliant actual proof, living lives overflowing with the brilliant actual proof of good health and longevity enables us to garner greater understanding of our movement and serve as a guiding light in creating a century of life. I pray fervently for our resounding victory and for everyone to enjoy good health and lead long, fulfilling lives. Daisaku Ikeda. Okay, what time is it?
Right, so.
9 exactly.
You're kidding me. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Wow.
Once we have the issue that we discussed earlier squared away, we'll know about next Wednesday versus something else. Obviously, again, like I said, this might be the last time we meet here around this round table. But we'll see. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On to here.